Hello and welcome to another edition of The Road Less Traveled. I'm John Chambers. Today we are going to take you to some of the underwater highways and byways of the islands in the Pacific Rim. We'll start off with the island of Palau, move north to Saipan, and from there we'll take a break from diving on the island of Bali. And we'll finish off at Australia's Great Barrier Reef. So let's begin at a place called Blue Corner, one of Palau's premier dive destinations. Blue Corner is a wall dive where you drop down in crystal blue water to about 120 feet. And why is it so popular? Because you get to share your dive with denizens of the deep. That's right, white-tipped and black-tipped reef sharks. The sharks are just curious as to whom is visiting their kitchen today. And contrary to popular belief and the Jaws movies, as long as you don't harass the sharks, they don't harass you. When you need to take a break from diving, you can snorkel at what is now becoming the well-known Jellyfish Lake. Millions of years ago, Jellyfish Lake was a bay in the islands. But as the seas receded, a lake formed, trapping the jellyfish. And after millions of years with no natural enemies, the jellyfish have lost the ability to sting. At night, they drop down to feed in the nitrogen below, and by day they rise to the surface, and combined with the sun, the nitrogen feeds the algae within the jellyfish, creating their own personal smorgasbord. From Palau, we'll jump back on the boat and we'll sail north to the Pacific playground of Saipan in the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands, or the CNMI. The CNMI is actually a U.S. Commonwealth. Its natives are Chamorro and Carolinian, with a rich history. We'll put our dive gear on the back of our kayaks and head out into Saipan's 7-mile lagoon. The diving in Saipan's lagoon is unique because, in addition to a diverse and plentiful marine life, major World War II battles were fought on Saipan, and the lagoon's full of World War II wrecks, from Japanese Zeros to M1 tanks. We found this well-preserved Japanese Zero in only 20 feet of water, within an easy kayak paddle from the shoreline and in a well-protected lagoon. This M1 tank is also located in about 3 or 4 feet of water depending on the tides, and is only a couple hundred yards from the shore. Then it's back on the boat and we head west to the Indonesian island of Bali and take a short break from scuba diving. Bali is a land of rice fields and Hindu temples. It's a land of many rituals and religious festivals which are celebrated on almost all days of the year. If you want to enter most of the temples, you have to put on a sarong, which is a type of long skirt that both the men and women wear. It's a land of literally thousands of temples, from tiny temples you might find in a corner to larger ornate temples where larger religious ceremonies are celebrated. Each temple has certain statues which pay homage to certain Hindu gods, and each temple also has a certain amount of structures, one of which is the pagoda, which has an odd number of roofs, the maximum number of which is 11 and represents perfection. We spent our days exploring many of the hundreds of temples, and we spent our nights attending some of the traditional dance ceremonies. This dance is known as the Balinese Lagong dance, a traditional story dating from the 12th century about the king of Lasem and the maiden Rangkasari. The next day, it was back to more temples, and we have only one word for temple in the English language, but in Balinese distinguish two important types, a Sangha, or smaller house temple, or the Pura, which is more of a public domain temple. The next night, we attended more ritual dances. This dance is the Sangyang trance, where an enchanted priest walks on hot coals, and the dance is performed to excise evil spirits from each village. The next day, we went up in the mountains to the art haven known as Ubud, and nestled in the ancient city of Ubud is a sacred monkey jungle. The monkeys are revered animals in Bali. The entire temple in the jungle here has been dedicated solely to them. They're allowed to roam completely free in the jungle, and they're also quite hungry and they're not too shy around people. So be careful, this brand of brave monkeys was none too cautious about stealing my bananas. Then we have one last night where we observe the sacred Barong dance, another traditional dance about the Barong, a mystical creature with a long sway back and curved tail who protects humanity in the battle between good and evil. And then it's back on the boat where we head south to Australia and the Great Barrier Reef. The best port from which to gain access to the reef is the port city of Cairns, Australia. The Great Barrier Reef is well known for its giant pelagic fish, giant grouper and sunfish, which can grow to reach the size of a Volkswagen. We didn't see any of the giant fish on this day, but there were some fair-sized grouper following us around. And there are also a plethora of sea turtles and a whole variety of fish and coral cultures which combine to welcome the diver to an explosion of color and movement beneath the ocean. That's all the time we have for today. Tune in next week when we take you to some of the great national parks in the American West, the Grand Canyon, Zion National Park, Arches, Moab, and many others. This is John Chambers reminding you to take the road less traveled. We'll see you next time.